Hey, what's up, guys? Got another new gun. I don't know if you guys saw my sale video. I didn't keep it up that long because once everything started selling, I figured it kind of stink for people to watch the video and see a bunch of stuff that they couldn't buy because it was already sold. But I did happen to mention in a past update video that I was going to sell my Springfield, my XD40 subcompact, which I did to a very, very nice woman over in Wisconsin. And that is in the mail as we speak right now. But I sold it for $400, and the reason I sold it is first off, I needed some more money towards my transmission that I need to get for my car. But I figured, you know what, if I get rid of this gun, I'll take 200 from the purchase price and put that towards the car, and take the other 200 and put that towards a cheap gun. Get a new gun to replace it. It doesn't have to be expensive. So I had a couple things in mind with $200 to spare. I was thinking about a Ruger 1022. I was thinking about maybe a North American Arms little mini revolver. I think those things are really cool. I still eventually want to get one, but I was thinking maybe single shot 12 gauge. Something fun. Maybe a cheap lever action 22. I was thinking about a bolt action 17 HMR. I had a lot of different things I was thinking about that I could still get, either new or used within the price range. But when I went down to my local shop, where I get my guns, which happens to be a fishing store here in Pennsylvania, it's great. You can get guns everywhere, and it's literally just like a fishing shop, but they happen to sell guns, and they have a nice little selection there, new and used, and it's where I've always got my guns because it's somewhat close. It's about the closest place that I can go that I do like, and I like the people there. They're real nice, and like I said, they have a decent selection. If they don't have what I want, they can order it. But anyway, picked up my new gun. I saw it in the case. It was used. I got it for $215 out the door, which I think was an awesome price. And I was very happy with it. I actually got to go up to my shooting grounds this last weekend, and I have a shooting video which I'm going to do as a part 2. This is going to be part 1 to the video, and then part 2 will just be my shooting experience. So with no further ado, I don't know if you guys can read that. It says Walther, and it's upside down. But anyway, I got myself a Walther P22. Okay, so let me show you the gun. It doesn't really need much of an introduction. A lot of people know about these guns. A lot of people have them. This one has the factory laser on it from the previous owner bought this new, and there's only one owner to this. One downside to this is that the owner lost the base plate to the laser. Okay, so I can't shoot with the laser on until I get this piece. This gun is made by Smith & Wesson. The current production Walthers are made by Smith & Wesson, and of course it is marked. I don't know if you can see it, but it's on the actual gun. It says Smith & Wesson. So I called Smith & Wesson. I said, hey, I just bought this used gun. Laser's missing the base plate. What do I do? Real nice customer service, by the way. This is the first time I ever called Smith & Wesson to talk about some kind of warranty issue or repair, and about a part. And I'm thinking, it's going to cost me $20, $25 for this thing. The guy said, you know what, we give them free. We'll send one out to you. It's a warranty issue, so you're going to get one free, but he doesn't have one in stock right now. He said just call back in about a week or so, or 2 weeks when we have them. When these lasers get sent in for repair, sometimes if they can't fix them, they'll break them apart and they'll keep the parts for repair issues. So it kind of stinks I didn't come with the base plate here, but the model with the laser is roughly $400 brand new. So it was a nice little addition. The laser does work great. I actually have it sighted in already. Let me put it back on the gun here. First, let me show you the gun is in fact clear. There's nothing in there. Nothing in the magazine. Okay. But anyway, awesome laser. This is a factory laser. Fits on there perfectly, like it was meant to be. Follows the lines really nice. When your pointer finger's indexed, it's right over the actuation button for the laser. So you just push the button and the laser's on. So it's really cool. I like the addition, but I can't use it for a while. I have to wait to get that base plate. So good news, it is free, but bad news is I have to wait to use it. So put that aside. The gun itself is very cool. You know what? It's a lot smaller than I thought. And seeing videos of this, it doesn't look all that small, but it is nice and small. You can see my hand can almost cover it. but it feels really good in the hand. It's very ergonomic, feels really comfortable. It's got adjustable sights, front and rear. It's got a manual safety on here. And you can see the back here, but this is on fire right now. You can see the little kind of silver piece. That's where your firing pin is, or that's connected to it. By flicking this up, it literally just moves a bar, or actually that was on safe. Now it's on fire. But it's just a little bar that goes in front of it, so that when you pull the trigger, it won't actually touch that. So manual safety, which is nice for safety features are good. I think if you're an experienced shooter, to be honest, you don't really need them, because an experienced shooter should have the responsibility to follow all the rules. Obviously, you never muzzle anyone or anything. You don't intend to shoot or harm. Finger off the trigger. All the basic safety precautions we take. But it's still good to have a manual safety anyway, because accidents do happen, and this is just another way to prevent them. But I'm very happy with it. Cheap little 22 gun I can plink with. Had a lot of fun shooting it. I did have some feeding issues. And that's one thing that a lot of people have problems with these, is the feeding issues. Either failure to eject or failure to feed. I don't know if it's the magazine or what, but it's not a big deal. Actually, I switched ammo, and when I started using a different type of ammo, it ran perfect. I was using very cheap stuff all day. I didn't have any CCIs or anything with me, so I am going to revisit the shooting portion with this gun again in the future, when I have some CCIs and some better 22 ammo. But very cool. Magazine release is kind of different. Supposedly this is how a lot of H&Ks are, and I don't own an H&K, so I didn't know this, but the magazine release is actually in the base of the trigger guard here. Let me try to get some good lighting. So you have to push down on it. You can see this. Just like this. And I'm using my pointer finger. Of course, it's fully ambidextrous, so you can use your thumb, but I find that, I shoot righty. To actually use my right thumb, I have to totally get out of here's my shooting grip. I have to totally move out of my shooting grip to reach that, okay, to pop the magazine. I find it much easier, much more natural, just to bring my pointer finger down and hit it, okay? So I have been using my pointer finger for that. Does lock back on the last round, which is cool. It's fun. Breakdown's pretty easy. Putting it back together is kind of a pain. The recoil spring's a little bit too long for the guide rod, so you have this like special piece you have to stick in there. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but no big deal. 22s though, they do shoot pretty dirty, so you do have to clean them. This has a little key here. It does lock right there, so you can lock the trigger for safety. There's a couple extra pieces here for a couple extra front sight post configurations, if I want to make it higher or lower. That's pretty cool. I got a wrench here. You can take the barrel off on this and put a longer barrel on. There's a barrel nut on the front. Basically, use the wrench, you undo that, the whole barrel slides off, and you can put a longer barrel with a little, I guess, flash suppressor slash compensator type thing. So that's pretty cool. If I always want to, extend this and make it a little bit more accurate, I guess, or change the looks of it, I have the option. To be honest, I probably won't, just because it adds money to it. For $215 with the laser, I'm extremely happy. I don't really want to put a lot of money into this gun. The whole purpose behind it was to be able to shoot cheap. So, adding maybe $100 for another barrel and that kind of setup doesn't really make too much sense to me. It is pretty cool. If you want to do that, that's fine, but I probably won't. I like it as is. Pull the trigger. Well, you don't have to necessarily pull the trigger, but if you pull back on the hammer, it does have a half cock position, which I do like for storage, and if if I have a magazine in there and I don't have one loaded or anything, I still like that being off the firing pin, just for safety. So you can have it on safe and have it in half cock position. So if you wanted to carry it loaded or something, which I totally won't. This is, again, only a target gun for me. I don't find it to be reliable enough to be a self-defense gun, nor do I want to pick this as my self-defense gun. This is strictly for fun and for target use. So, very happy though. It does feel really good in the hands. It is extremely accurate, believe it or not. I mean, for kind of a somewhat short barrel 22, very accurate. Hardly any recoil at all. Again, I wasn't using really, big loads like the CCI Stingers. From what I can tell, it gives you a little bit more muzzle flip. than some of the cheaper ammo. I was using some subsonic rounds. I was using the Aguila. They actually ran the best as the Aguila, probably because of the 22 short casings. But I don't know. I'll do some more testing in the future. But overall, I just had a great time shooting this. It was a lot of fun. I put about 300 rounds down range, and I had a blast, quite literally. Like I said, there were some shooting issues, which it could be a little frustrating, especially when you buy a new gun, even though it's used, and even though I got a great deal on it. You don't want to keep having to do checks on it and stuff. It's kind of a pain. But to be honest, the more I thought about it, I thought it's actually it's not the worst thing in the world, because if nothing else, it gives me another chance to practice clearing drills. Failure to feed, I just quick little tap rack roll. That would be what is it? The fire thing, drop and roll. I don't know. Hopefully I don't catch fire, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But you know what I'm talking about. The clearing drill, tap, rack, and then bang. That's what I meant to say. So, I don't know, my mind's going a mile a minute. I got a lot of stuff I got to do today. But I did want to show you this gun. Okay, stop, drop, and roll. That's what you do when you're on fire. Like I said, hopefully I don't catch fire, because that took me way too long to remember that. But anyway, I do love the gun quite a bit. Very happy with my purchase, and like I said, I still have money towards the transmission, which I'm happy about. So that's it. I mean, the real reason why I did this was to be able to get a cheaper gun I can plink with. Like I said, the XD was a great gun. I liked it. I do prefer my Glocks over it. I think one of the biggest downsides to it is that high bore axis. It's a snappy gun, especially with the 40 Smith & Wesson. It's not terrible, but it's just not my favorite. So I figured I'd trade it in. I needed the cash, and I also was able to pick up a cheap plinker. One cool thing about this, I got some snap caps in here. What I like about the magazines, these are 10-round magazines. But what I like about them, and I guess this is most of the Target 22 pistols, is that the follower here has a little kind of a nub on it. You can see this, and I believe, I don't own one, but I believe this is the same with the Ruger, Mark series, Mark 3s, and all that, and the Buck Mark, and all the 22 Target guns. But it's just such a simple thing for the magazine to be able to manipulate that follower. Okay, so when you load your rounds, you pull that down and relieve the pressure. Okay, so you just slide it in, to load. It's just super easy. I kind of wish they did this with every magazine. I mean, I don't see how difficult it would be to do. It makes loading a lot easier. I guess, with some magazines, the springs are so much harder that you probably wouldn't be able to do this, or at least not comfortably in this design. But with the little 22s, it's perfect. It makes loading a breeze. It's very easy on the fingers. I'm done already. This gun was safety checked. I'll do it again, just to show you, nothing in there. Again, dummy rounds. Just want to show you this feeding a little bit here. Some people have issues with manually loading rounds. Sometimes they get hung up or something. I haven't had any issues with that at all. But anyway, just so sometimes that last round sticks a little bit when I'm manually doing this anyway. As far as shooting, I haven't had any issues with it kind of hanging in there. They do eject fine. But I just want to show you that real quick. I'm really happy with the gun, though. Very happy with my purchase. It is a lot of fun to shoot, and very cheap. That's the reason I did it. So anyway, got my new Walther P22. Now we just got to wait on Smith & Wesson to get me that part so I can play around with the laser. So there it is, guys, my new gun. Very excited about it. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to have a lot of fun with firearms. I mean, there's some awesome guns out there. $700, $800, $1,200, $1,300, $2,000. There's a lot of cool guns, but you know what? Like I said, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can have just as much fun with these little cheap 22s. So, if you don't have one, check it out. Really fun. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, as always. And part 2 will be a separate video, and that'll just be me shooting and showing you some of the malfunctions I have with this gun. And then, of course, clearing them and other stuff like that. I will have videos in the future on how to do some clearance drills. I think it's something I probably should have done early on. It's one of the most important things when you're learning how to shoot guns is if you have a problem, how to deal with it. But in due time, I will have my own video on malfunction clearing. But anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Take care, guys.